Hello and welcome everyone to part 1 of Froggies and Fever. This is a DaiSugaIwaOi Parents AU and I'm so excited for it because oh my god, look, it's adorable, okay? It's adorable. Of course, it wouldn't be me if there wouldn't also be some drama, but mostly it's fluff for now. It will be 3 parts. I hope you are excited for it. I sure am. And yeah, let's go. Really quick beforehand, I wrote the script for this video at like 2 AM after watching a video from Rachel Oates. I can absolutely recommend her channel, it was awesome. But she tackled some more problematic online personas and stuff like that. So I desperately needed some healthy relationships. This is why I wrote this. This is literally the reason, so I hope you are prepared for some fluffy DaiSugaIwaOi brain rot. Let's go. How come you're not sick? You're surrounded by all of them all day. Iwaizumi complained weakly to Suga from the couch where he had accumulated a small pile of tissues next to him on the coffee table and sniffled. A cough shook his body occasionally and his voice was rough from the rather ruthless cold he and their daughter had caught. A wave of it had taken over the school and swooped many teachers and children from their feet, including Rika, who had brought it home and gotten her papa sick as well. The little girl was sniffling just next to him where her head rested on his chest. They both looked at Suga almost accusingly, and it almost had his heart melting. I'm around kids so much I must have gotten immune. You, my dearest, however, are clearly weak to this. Iwaizumi groaned, annoyed, but didn't dodge the soft kiss Suga planted on his forehead by leaning over the back of the couch before planting one on Rika's hair as well. She whined and looked at him through big, bright eyes that were glassy from the sickness, and it almost broke Suga's heart. Don't worry, honey. I'll make some nice chicken soup for dinner and you'll feel better in no time. Hurt. Her voice was raspy and a tear slipped down her cheek upon speaking. Immediately, Suga reached over the couch to lift her into his arms. He couldn't bear seeing his little one in pain. It's okay. I'll check the dosage of the medicine again and see if you can get some more cough syrup. Yes? She scrunched her face in disgust and shook her head, though that alone seemed to tire her already worn body, and she leaned against his shoulder for comfort. It'll make you feel better, and afterward you can have some delicious fruit juice to build up your immune system, How does that sound? Why don't I get syrup and juice? I feel so neglected. Suga rolled his eyes as he sat down Rika on the kitchen counter while searching the cupboards for the medicine. He read the instructions carefully while picking out 2 spoons and making sure Rika didn't fall off the counter. She was fine for the most part, dangling her legs and playing with the drawers, but Suga saw that she was still loopy and gently guided her to sit further back just to make sure. Okay, here we go. Say ah. He fed her the medicine, which was commented with a shudder and a grimace as she exclaimed as loudly as her throat would allow it that it was bah. It made Suga smile, and he playfully pretended to taste it as well. I think it's quite delicious. No, it's ew, Chichi. It doesn't taste good at all. Really? Not at all? She shook her head violently again, almost causing herself to fall hadn't Suga caught her shoulder to keep her upright. Well, that's too bad, because it sounded like your papa also needed a spoonful. Suddenly her eyes sparkled with renewed enthusiasm and she sat up. Can I do it? You want to give him the medicine? She nodded eagerly and reached for the second spoon. I want to play doctor. I want to be one when I grow up, like you is Papa. She animatedly threw her arms into the air and tried to jump off the counter, but Suga caught her before she could. She yelped in surprise before he placed her on the ground gently and knelt down beside her. Careful. I know you can usually do this, but remember, you're sick. To be a good doctor, you need to make sure that you yourself are healthy so that you can help your patients. She thought about it before an expression of determination settled on her face. She carefully placed one foot before the other, now overcompensating for her previous carelessness as she walked over to the couch. Suga watched her fondly. In truth, her choice of what to be when she'd grow up changed as quickly as the weather. Yui's father, Shirabu-kun, had examined her yesterday as they went to get her symptoms checked out, and ever since, doctor was a new goal. He loved watching all of it, and whenever she came up with a new idea, they played pretend with her, leading her room to become the moon on occasion, or Rika reading them pages of her new novel that were actually just papers full of scribbles. She was still in first class and still learned reading and writing. The first page was still filled halfway with hiragana and some kanji, which she showed him proudly. But after that, she cheated a bit, and instead of writing on all of them, scribbled and exclaimed it was a new, better language. The other day, Oikawa was demoted to play an elephant, while she and Iwaizumi explored the safari wildlife, and she obviously couldn't just walk through the steppe. Though, as much as Iwaizumi teased him about it later, he knew that Oikawa gladly indulged their daughter. In terms of having someone to play with at all times, Rika was easily the most spoiled child in the area. They had adopted her over a year ago now, and she had quickly gotten used to her new environment. Suga loved seeing her flourishing and exploring now that she was given the opportunity. It was the most adorable thing in the world to see his husband interact with her. Just yesterday evening, she fell asleep in Daichi's arms while he read her a bedtime story, and the best part was that he had been so exhausted from work, he fell asleep alongside her without even noticing. Oikawa had made a ton of pictures before waking him heavy-heartedly so that he wouldn't get back problems in the morning. Now he and Daichi were at work while Suga took care of their poor sick babies. Iwaizumi really acted like a child when sick. You'd think it'd be Oikawa, but here they were. The teacher had come home directly after school ended instead of getting the usual paperwork done afterward, to find them both asleep on the couch with a cartoon played in the background. Now, Rika was excitedly making her way over to Iwaizumi again, the spoon in hand. Papa! Time for medicine! Suga's heart lightened a bit as he heard that her voice had already gotten a bit better from the syrup, and watched with fondness as she climbed onto the coffee table to be on Hajime's level when he sat up. Oh, is it any good? He smiled at her as she cringed again. It tastes awful. Maybe I don't need it that much. He stopped himself as he looked at Suga, who appeared rather unamused that he would deny the medication. With a sigh, he surrendered and watched as Suga leaned down to help Rika fill the medication on a spoon. Do you want my help with that? She nodded and lifted the small bottle to his face. Can you open it for me? Please. Sure. He screwed off the lid and handed her the bottle. On her first attempt, Rika spilled the contents onto her shirt, but the second one was successful. She grinned at Iwaizumi proudly as she fed him the syrup. A giggle escaped her as he too grimaced at the taste. See? It's ew. Yeah, totally ew. He kissed her on her cheek and her hair, making her smile. Okay, then now let's go get you changed into some fresh clothes, and then you can watch some more cartoons with Papa, yes? She nodded, but other than before, made grabby hands at him, silently asking to get carried. Suga gladly complied, not even batting an eye as the sticky syrup stained his shirt as well. It was nothing new after all. Which pajama do you want? Froggy! Rika loved frogs, and anything associated with them, and as such had many clothes featuring the little animals. Suga quickly pulled one in pastel yellow with a cute sunflower and frog print from the drawer and helped her change. She got better and better at doing these things herself, but she was sick, so there was nothing wrong with spoiling and fussing over her a little. Some things she quickly used to her full advantage as she pleaded to get carried again. I didn't know your legs could have a cold too, little frog. But Chi-Chi, I'm tired. She whined and made puppy eyes at him, which was entirely unfair, though least effective on Suga from the four of them since he saw that daily. He of course picked her up regardless and set her down beside Iwaizumi again, who lifted the blanket so both of them could hide underneath. Here you go. I'll prepare some tea, and once Toto gets home, I'll get dinner started. You two rest and try not to get the other two sick. It will be quite challenging to take care of all four of you on my own. We'll try our best, won't we, Rika? She nodded, a determined expression on her cute little face. No cuddles for Dada and Daddy. Oh no, you'll break their hearts. Iwaizumi chuckled and pulled her to his side. It's fair though, they don't have to deal with this stupid cold. Rika grumbled her agreement while her eyes focused on the TV again. Eventually, she got bored and climbed on Iwaizumi's lap to play with the strings of his hoodie while watching the TV show. He led her and pretended to be too invested in the show to notice. What a day. Oikawa groaned as he threw his bag off to the side and walked into the living room. The fact that he wasn't immediately greeted by the small footsteps of their daughter had him worried the fraction of a second before he noticed her deeply asleep in Iwa's arms. And how are the sick? A smile played on his lips as he walked over to them, to which Iwaizumi just responded with a groan and turning away from him. Such a cold-hearted response to my genuine concern for you. You wound me, Hajime. He glared at him but didn't say anything further, seeing as Rika was still asleep on his chest. Be quiet. Rika's asleep. Judging by the silent click of his phone camera, Oikawa was very aware of that. God, she is so adorable. I wish I could show her off to everyone. Toto. I know. No pictures of the kids online. Don't worry. Kids? Are you planning to have more? He shrugged his shoulders in a futile attempt to appear nonchalant, but the blush on his cheeks betrayed him. I don't know. I mean, we've got this whole parenting thing pretty good done so far, haven't we? If we'd get the chance, who knows? Maybe. He looked down at Rika and gently brushed a streak of hair from her face and behind her ear. His eyes were filled with love and care as he looked at her, like she was the most precious thing in the world. Can't deny that having her has been pretty awesome. She's incredible. Iwaizumi nodded, his heart positively melting as he saw how gentle and loving he handled their daughter. He would have never imagined that this was where he'd end up in life, but in his opinion, there was no better place for him. This, his small, growing family, was perfect. He loved every moment of it. And it's not like we couldn't handle another child. We're moving into the new house soon. All of us earn fairly well, and with the 4 of us, there's usually always someone to take care of the kids. Not to mention that she's at school a lot. I like that. You're right. I think if the opportunity presents itself, I'd like that. Oikawa looked up surprised, and Iwaizumi loved watching how the initial shock turned into a soft smile. He reached out to adjust Rika on his chest, where she slowly threatened to fall down, and rocked her gently as she got a little restless in her sleep, shushing her quietly. Let's talk about it with Ko and Daichi when we aren't sick anymore, yes? Alright, but don't make me wait for too long. I'm terrible at containing my excitement. Oh, believe me, I know. In fact, the whole world knows after that proposal you orchestrated. It was romantic, alright? He chuckled as he watched the setter's cheeks turn even brighter and his expression turning into a pout. It was, and I loved it. That soothed him at least a little before concern reflected in his eyes as Iwaizumi coughed again. Is there anything you need? Iwaizumi's first instinct was to shake his head and deny, but then he hesitated. He looked down at Rika. Perhaps get the thermometer? She feels a bit warm and want to make sure it's not a fever. Oikawa nodded and swiftly disappeared to fetch the item, although there was no reason to rush, really. They'd have to wait until she woke up anyway. But that's just how he was, and Iwaizumi saw no reason to complain. Oikawa would spare Rika rotten if given the chance, and worst of all, the Argentina team definitely paid him well enough to do so. He'd say luckily there was still him, Ko, and Daichi. However, to be perfectly honest, he and Daichi might barely be any better. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and yeah, tell me if you liked it. This is a little bit of a different type of video, I'd say, to what I would usually do, because the ship is not necessarily in the foreground, but I really love doing it, and I hope you liked it as well, and that I can make more of it. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a like and tell me your favorite quote of the video under the pinned comment, or your favorite moment, whatever. A special thanks as always goes out to my nerdy Nekos. We have finally reached 10 channel members. This is members. I cannot talk. This is crazy to me, okay? Can you see that I'm excited? I can see that. Yeah, thank you so much. That is an overwhelming amount of support that I didn't thought I'd get on this channel. Thank you so much. Here are more videos. Check them out. Have a nice day. And next part, next Saturday.
Grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.